What if the Republic of China, also known as Taiwan, won the Chinese Civil War? So, a bit of backstory. The Chinese Civil War was a civil war that lasted all the way from 1914 up until 1949, when the Chinese Communists won the war and took over of all of mainland China and also the state of Tibet, and the Republic of China, who ruled at the time, fled to Taiwan. However, what if this happened the other way around? What if China, the Republic of China, won? So, let's say that the Soviet Union didn't fund the Chinese rebels in this area, and they had much less strength than before. They would probably still be given their area in Manchuria. The reason China would probably not be able to fend off the Republic of China would probably because the Soviets would probably spend much more of their funding on suing for their own reconstruction apart from China's. So it would be pretty certain that the People's Republic of China would probably lose out much slower than the Republic of China did. Now, the amount of differences it would make is, for one, the Republic of China may or may not would annex Tibet, but they probably won't, because the People's Republic of China annexed Tibet, and the Republic of China never annexed Tibet, so probably not. They would also not have any claims to India's territories, mainly their claim in Jammu and Kashmir, as well as their claims in the east of India. We also have to look at the Korean War, the war between North and South Korea. Because the two countries were at war so long, and because China funded and actually sent troops in to help the North, we would probably say that the North Koreans would definitely be absolutely destroyed in this war. Because, as you might have saw, the Republic of China was a very close ally to the United States. So they would probably be sending in troops to help the South instead of the North. So then that would be a very clear victory for South Korea. Same goes for the Vietnam War. The states of North and South Vietnam were at war. China helped North Vietnam. The U.S. helped South Vietnam. Many other countries helped the two countries, but, well, we're just focusing on China right now. The same thing would probably happen in Vietnam as did Korea. North Vietnam would be absolutely pummeled. Well, not really absolutely pummeled. I mean, they won out against the United States. So they would probably lose, but they wouldn't lose as quickly as South Vietnam did. They would probably take at least a few years to lose the war. Also, the absence of a communist China would probably have the absence of communist countries in Southeast Asia, notably Laos and Cambodia. Now, because of the absence of a large communist nation in Asia, the United States would probably have to fear less, as Russia would definitely find itself more isolated, as they would definitely have way less communist countries to help them out with. Because China isn't communist, Vietnam isn't communist. I mean, we don't know for sure, but it would be safe to say that it probably won't be communist. There would probably still be a claim to the China Sea, but there probably would be still some territorial disputes in the Pacific as well as in the South China Sea. But another thing that probably wouldn't happen is the United Kingdom giving away its Hong Kong province, as well as Portugal giving away Macau. It would probably be a lot easier for the citizens living there, because for one, China is democratic, and for two, Hong Kong and Macau still had systems of voting inside China. So, if China was democratic, then it would be way easier for them. As the case for the United States, they would probably, with a democratic China, have an alliance in Eastern Asia. Now, in our timeline, the threat of China would bring pretty much all the nations together. Well, all the nations would be together in our timeline, but the US would definitely have better relations with Japan and Korea in our timeline as they did before, because for one, Japan and Korea were much more threatened in our timeline than they were in this timeline right here. So the US would definitely have a little worse relations with Korea and Japan, but it would probably remain the same. Mass censorship and other things would definitely not be a thing in China. And Mongolia also would definitely be anti-communist if this happens, because Mongolia was a satellite state of the USSR, and pretty much the collapse of communism would definitely bring the collapse of communism in Mongolia much earlier than in our timeline. Tibet would probably be taken over by China way more in the future than in our timeline. I know I said before that they probably wouldn't be taken over, but they would eventually be taken over sometime in the future, maybe even in the 70s or something. But it would definitely be way earlier, way later than in our timeline. So that's what I think would happen if China, the Republic of China, also known as Taiwan, won the Chinese Civil War.